And then you can start looking around you and describe your first impressions.
I think there's a sandstorm. Sand pelting, kind of like the stars. As the storm clears, it's the pyramids, big pyramids all around.
Very good. Use all your senses. How's the weather over there? After it's been cleared up.
It's getting dark. It's clear. It's cool. Sunset.
Wonderful. What can you hear over there?
People talking. Beings talking. Animals doing animal things.
Mm-hmm.
And there's language I don't know.
Wonderful. I want to get to know you a little bit. You can look down to your feet and describe yourself.
Robes. I'm in robes to hide the fact that I have no body. But they cannot know that. They would be afraid. I have a hood. I am light.
It's wonderful. As a light, do you have a gender?
I am both.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Wonderful. How do they call you?
Itna funkunai di mune. Iti mega ni note. Ai. Itma ka itne. Unumukonene yeken mofine. I. Translate to I. No say. Don't know.
It's wonderful. I. It's okay to call you I today?
I.
Thank you. I'd like you to take me to another important day that you would like to show today. A day that you consider important. And share with me what is happening next.
It is the time of the rising. It is the time of the light. It is a time when heaven and earth become one. When the pyramids have been finished, for they are energy vortexes, they amplify and communicate. They help us amplify the bridge so that we can ascend, bring the power, the next iteration of human. Time to bring light down so that they may evolve. For we cannot interfere, but we can bring new idea, new light, upgrade, time for the upgrade, next level.
Can you share with me about the building of the pyramids? How does that been done?
Well, I don't know how to describe it so that you would understand. Perhaps an analogy might work, but it seems as though there is a weaving of the stories of the Matrix. As I said before, there is a weaving and there is an amplification through the group work There is a collective consciousness of our wills together that can weave stronger. And so we weave the matrix of earth. And therefore we draw the stones into existence. And we place them. It is easiest to do this in sections, for earth is dense, slow building, but quicker in a group. We could make it all in one piece. It could be a seamless thing. But there must be the forgetting. If we built it in one single piece, not only would that take longer and more energy, more of us need to combine our wills, but in the future they will not forget, porque they will not be able to explain. Therefore, the pieces can be forgotten, for it is possible they could be built by man. In the times of the forgetting, we cannot leave symbols of the remembering. Too much, their brains would explode. Cannot handle yet, not time now.
Wonderful. You mentioned that now it was the time of awakening there, that the pyramid was done.
Of awakening to the next level, but not ready in the future. Once we go too much, they can remember now, but in the future they must forget again. It is a cycle, it is a wave of remembering and forgetting. So these beings are in a time of remembering. They know something going on they don't understand, but they still cannot see us. We cannot show them our form. They would explode. They could not understand our form yet. Not time. Not time.
Wonderful, Ai. So describe what is happening there now when the pyramids were finished.
We collect our will telepathically into the center, deep inside. And there is a stone, not stone, material we bring from other dimension, seeing into earth now, but will not stay. Too powerful, this. Not stone, material, liquid, solid, light, all at the same time. Hard to explain to you.
Mm-hmm.
It does not make sense in 3 dimensions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's the purpose of this material?
It amplifies the bridge between worlds so that the upgrade can affect larger populations instead of the slow way of genetic implantation. Genetic code implantation takes millions years to spread throughout gene pool, but this actually much faster. We are able to open the gates between other dimensions and allow the upgrade to enter the DNA of multiple beings at once. It is for a shift of all humanity, for there are multiple pyramids around the earth. All in conjunction together, we work together in teams to amplify all around the planet at once.
Wonderful. So it's amplifying the whole planet and also the beings that getting upgrades within that?
Yes, the whole planet is being upgraded.
Mm-hmm. Where are these energies coming into the planet, into those pyramids?
From other dimensions, from the light dimensions. This time is combination of 4th, 5th, and 6th. It is a trifecta to work with the DNA patterning and increase a certain percentile up from before. This is a big jump. We want to be careful.
Mm-hmm. I see. So what is happening there now?
The people are gathering, for they sense in the time of the remembering, there is a sense that it is happening. There is gathering, and yet there is also this. It does not need. Only those on the edge of remembering come. but it will affect the whole once all are on the same grid lines, for there are pyramids around the globe, and it is like pressing the acupuncture points of a person. It is the same. Once all systems are online, then the whole system gets an upgrade, upboot. Does not matter if they gather, but some remember, some come.
Mm-hmm. So it's about to be activated, or is it already active?
We are planning, yes, it is the beginning.
The beginning of the activation?
We are beginning. We are making the preparations. I must be here to oversee, to make sure that we do not. It must be very precise. The amount of material and the amount of will entering material and the amount of bridge open to other dimensions. I must calibrate with the other members of the team in the different parts around the globe in order to make sure we have an even transmission. It's extremely important that it is calibrated correctly, or else we can create explosions, the volcanoes and eruptions and earthquakes. We are trying to avoid that and keep stillness on the planet. It is very precise work.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your work. Can you share with me about your team members? What are their names?
Names not important. Light beings manifest in smaller bits. All I, but manifest in small bits, clothed in the robes to hide their true form. It is an illusion, not embodied this time, not incarnated. It is one mind, one I, that divides and be the overseer in each of the locations around the globe.
How many locations do you have there?
Scanning. There are I believe there are 13. It is possible there are more that are smaller. The 13 main nodes, there are more smaller nodes all around the world to help to send out the ripples farther out into the wilds, especially in places where there are higher concentrations of humans. There are 13 main nodes. There are many more smaller nodes, not sure how to count in numbers, because many of them are quite small, seeds really. There are the secondary nodes, then there are the tertiary nodes of the small seeds. They're 1 atom thick, and they are planted around the earth, infinite numbers, like sand.
I understand. Wonderful. Thank you for this information. Would you share with me about the 13 main places? Where is it located on the earth today?
Various locations.
For example, we know about the pyramids of...
Well, of course, there are the ones in Egypt, and there are the ones in Bosnia, and there are the ones under the ocean near Japan. There are some in what you now call Central America. There are some that are now covered. There are in the fault lines. They have disappeared. There are some in Siberia. There used to be one in Antarctica. It is still there, I believe. Yes, that one is there. There on the north and south nodes have not yet been melted away. Have not found those yet. Think though new technology has sensed them. They are placed randomly, not randomly, wrong word, opposite of randomly, in perfect.
Precisely.
Repeat?
Precisely perfect.
Exactly, precisely placed to balance.
Wonderful. Very good. What the name of the era that is this awakening is happening? Do we know name for that era on the earth?
It is the time when we introduce writing, when time of the mind grows to understand the written word. So we are introducing them to allow that into the consciousness beyond just the mystics. We have taught the ceremonial leaders about language and writing, but it is now time for the rest of the world to begin to understand the pictorial, the symbolism of language into written form.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's wonderful information. What else are you doing there now?
I am riding a camel. For this is fun. Camel's funny.
Yeah. Where are you going?
I am exploring. I love these humans. I like to pretend I am human and explore amongst the people. I am exploring the villages and playing with the children. I have to make sure my robes are good and strong so they cannot see through my robes. However, I really enjoy spending time with the children and with the women. And sometimes I enjoy watching the men, although I am sometimes concerned by their violence. However, I do love them too, but I am especially drawn to the children and the old women. They are very wise, and I like seeing how the evolution of human manifests throughout lifetime, in childhood, in adulthood, and in the elderly. I enjoy going to the poorest villages and seeing how people are doing with suffering and with hard times and scarcity, and seeing how strong their hearts are. This is my favorite part of the design.
Wonderful. So you said that you're a camel, and what pyramids are you now? What area on the earth is it?
I am in the place in between in the top of the Africa.
In the top of the Africa. Okay, wonderful. Very good.
They call that, obviously, that is Egypt they call now.
Yeah, Egypt. Very good. Very nice. What is the next important event would you like to share with me today?
In this same place, in this time.
You can choose. What's important today to share with us? What is the next important event would you like to show, explore again, and remember? You can get there now. And share with me, where are you now?
I am distracted. I am playing with a cat. I like the cats.
Good. Okay, so take a moment to enjoy that. Very nice. Now you can close that scene. Drifting, staying in that life to another important event in that life. A day that you consider important.
Not life, not embodied in life, only here, short time. Come, we do the activation, and once it is complete, then I will dissolve back to the other dimension, only here, short time.
For how long does it take you to be on the earth?
From
Earth time?
Yes, earth time, very dense. I do believe we are only here but an instant, but I do believe that it is at least 3 human lifetimes, perhaps, that I am here. But it is only an instant. In my reality, it takes a very short time for the Ascension protocol to finish. But I suppose 3 lifetimes is a long time.
Okay, very good. And during those 3 lifetimes, it was a process of the building of the pyramids?
The pyramids are mostly built, but we must calibrate all of the seeds of the material and make sure they are all placed appropriately. Once they are all perfectly placed at the appropriate times, then we send our will into them so that they expand their energy being and therefore open up the bridge. The bridge moment is only but an instant. It is not lifetimes, but it takes a very long time in Earth years to set all of the fields properly now that the pyramids are all built.
I see. And how long does it take to build the pyramids in Earth time?
In Earth time, I believe the pyramids were built by another team I oversaw from the other dimension. I only came once the pyramids were finished. I offered the schematics. It is hazy then, for I witnessed from other realm. I believe, though, it took many Earth generations to build, but yet at the same time it was almost immediate. It is rather confusing to describe this, because they manifested not in the way that you would think, by building block after block and stacking them like you would build in modern building in our time. It was a slow materialization out of nothingness. Therefore, they were not there, and then they were all built at the same time, one atom at a time, spaced out, and then they were then woven together. So it was like a wide net. and therefore they sort of almost just appeared.
Mm-hmm.
But it took a long time for them to materialize in Earth time. But it was instantaneous, or it was very quick from my perspective.
Yeah, I understand. Can you describe what is happening within a pyramid?
The pyramids are the augmenters. They take the material and they hold the vibration. So as the songs of the materials are growing and getting brighter in the light, then they need a container so that they do not explode. We must match the density of Earth to the density of the other dimension. Therefore, it is like a translator, these pyramids. And they are the translators for the transmission of you might call them something like a radio wave, but not radio wave at all. It is a light transmission. So in a sense, the pyramids are what do you call those collectors, those energy collectors for your telescopes now? You have those large arrays that focus the waves in order to send them far out into space. It is a similar concept, except the opposite, in where the energy must be matched. The large vibration of the Ascension energy must be matched to the Earth dimension density. So therefore, it is a net that is weaving both third dimensionality with the larger dimensional light frequency so that it can be a bridge. So in a sense, it is the transmitter, the augmenter, and the bridge holder. It is like the bolts in the bridge that hold the bridge into the Earth and also connect the bridge into the sky. So it is an energetic transmission network that is a net grid augmenter, and it also holds the material and allows that material that is not used to being in the dimension of the density of the third dimension, it gives it a chance to breathe. So it has certain portals that allow the energy to move throughout the pyramid so that it does not explode. There is an opportunity to experiment with the pathways of this material to see if we can find more efficient means of working with this material in the third dimension. As this is always an experiment that is growing and deepening over time, we are always exploring how to better and more efficiently work these grids. For this does seem to be a lot of work in order to create this augmentation system, and therefore we are trying to create a more efficient pattern. However, this strangely simple and complex idea has been yet the best idea that our team has come up with in order to amplify the awareness mentality of the entire planet without causing any major explosions. So it is both a grounding rod and the amplifier. It is all sorts of things all at once and hard to describe to you in third dimension.
Mm-hmm. You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you so much. So, where is it in the process now before activating it?
They are in place. Material is in place. It is time to begin the Ascension light broadcasting system. It will melt and it will vaporize and it will crystallize all at the same time. It will be a very bright light but cannot be seen in the third dimension. It is outside of the visible light spectrum. However, there will be an after effect of a bright light, and it will cause a moment of forgetting and remembering and forgetting and remembering in a cycle to allow the brain waves of the humans to open up to in the extent that they allow the understanding of language translated into symbols into their cognition.
Wonderful. Can you share now what is happening? Is it when it's activating? Can you get to the time when it's being activated?
It is activating, yes. The material is a liquid, light, vaporized, solid rainbow of all knowledge brought into form that looks like a stone and looks like liquid at the same time. It pulses and moves like a living being. It is sentient, and yet it is not. It is a reflection and a materialization of consciousness in another dimension here in the third dimension. Therefore, it is really basically an illusion. However, it does appear solid and does appear liquid and does appear vapor all at the same time. Therefore, it cannot be seen by human eyes. They would not understand.
Where is it located?
It is located, the main section of it is deep within the center of the pyramid, down deep, down at the triangulation point, down underneath the earth, in the secret chasms that are held to allow a certain amount to off-gas at the right time to reduce the possibility of explosion. There are smaller seeds going up the central channels in some of the tunnels and aligned in different little alcoves that are placed in specific places around the pyramids. The main section is in the place where the story is then told that the pharaohs are buried so that they get the power. We really allowed the pharaohs to be buried in the places where the material used to be, for they are keepers of knowledge and do understand that we have come to help.
Wonderful. Very good. So after they receiving this material, the pharaohs, what's happening next?
The pharaoh's duty is to help to transmit the new information and stay in a benevolent overseer role. They are allowed wealth, and yet we recognize this place is a danger one, for humans tend to become power hungry and they get very intoxicated by wealth. However, it is a big responsibility, and these people must be well cared for to enable their minds and bodies to go through the initiation rites, to step into the void in order to meet with us and speak with them and help them translate to the people. Therefore, they need to be healthy and cared for and clean and well rested. They need to not have much stress. They need to be able to fully relax. Hard to do that, but the goal is to create humanity's balance so that all are well and taken care of. Over and over again, though, once we leave, these pharaohs do forget, and they tend to submit to the intoxication of greed. It is a recurring issue we have yet to figure out how to solve.
I see. Okay, what kind of initiation they need to go through?
It is an initiation of mystical proportion. Usually it is the light language translated into plant and animal secretions in order to merge the other dimensions with the third dimensional realm. Therefore, they will ingest this material in the side of the pyramids in the darkness so that they can let go of their bodies fully and meet us in the other dimension to receive instructions on how to maintain the pyramids and allow for the subtle and overriding integration of the new information into the population.
I see. Okay. Wonderful. Now I'm wondering if that's the time of the activation. What happened that it was the time of the forgetting, or the time that the pyramid was not working anymore? The time of the collapse. What created the collapse? Can you share with me about that time?
This is a dangerous subject, and there are limitations of what I am able to share because this information cannot be spread without potential damage of recreating the same situation of why we had to shut down that aspect of the experiment.
Okay. So there's limit of what you're willing to share with me today about that.
I can share that there was a pharaoh. There was a being who was able to, in his initiation, must be pure of heart in order to fully go there. He was pure of heart at the time, and yet the greed corrupted him, and he was able to maintain his powers beyond what we thought he would be able to once he lost the purity in his heart. He was able to find some of the seeds that were placed to hold the upgrade. He used strange methods in order to discover where these seeds were placed. He collected these seeds and tried to coalesce them to create the great power. We did not leave them with power this time. They were not ready, but they found it and wanted it for themselves. That is all I can share about this subject.
Thank you so much. Now I understand a little bit of the story. Thank you. Is that time of the pyramids when they were activated, does that call Atlantis or does it call another time?
One of the pyramids was on Atlantis. This was during this time, yes, it was during the time.
Okay. There's other civilization known as Lemuria and Mu. Can you share with me something about what was happening in Lemuria? Are you familiar with that?
I am familiar. I am feeling reserves of myself in human form now.
What do you mean by that?
I am feeling subject. I am feeling her.
Okay.
And her reserves are, first, can we help her a little first? If there is more energy, perhaps we can go back. These are big places with many places I am not allowed to share, and I am concerned for her energy reserves at this time.
Okay, so let's go back and we'll not go into those deep topic. Anything that she need to get more comfortable that you suggest? Let's take another deep breath.
She is okay.
Okay, good. So let's continue, and I would like, are you her higher self?
Yes.
Very good. It would be really good to ask you the questions that we prepared, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So, she wanted to know how to move forward with her vision without putting her mission in danger by any way.
I believe that we mentioned before that the best ways for her to share her mission is through songs and through the stories for the children, the picture books for all ages. It is easy to slip under radar using children's books and music. It is less detectable than some of the overt patterns. It is possible that she can begin to share these overt patterns once she has become more comfortable with these other forms. Her fears are not completely unfounded. There have been times before when her mission has been terminated early because she shared too much too quickly. She is feeling the residues of having aborted missions that were predetermined before completion.
I understand. Did we expose her to any danger by putting her face on YouTube? Or those words?
I believe it definitely triggered her memories, and therefore feels very real, and it is possible that it could be discovered. However, I do not feel that she is at risk at this time. However, I do believe that it is in her best interest to be careful to associate her face with this information. I recognize that it is standard protocol in the evolution of the work. However, based on her previous experience, what we were not able to fully erase her memory of, it will hold her back to feel like she is going to repeat that pattern. There is possible truth to it, and yet she is very well protected. We have sent many guides to be of service to her in so many categories. Many have incarnated to be near around her, and therefore to help her make sure that she does follow through with her mission. As she begins to emerge with her music and stories, she will begin to have more of her protectors come around her once they realize she is fully activated. Once she has the grid team around her and she feels that safety and support, it will be possible for her to share these transmissions in a more free-flowing manner. For now, though, it is best for her nervous system to not push too fast, because it is true that in the past, multiple times in the past, she has pushed a little too fast and has been terminated and has put her mission in danger. This time, though, she is okay for now, and as she understands these patterns, she will find the way through, especially with the support of all of the people who will hear her message, and it will activate them. Her songs and stories will activate her support system to gravitate around her, both physically in her premise in her life and energetically around her. She will have a grid of protection so that she can complete her mission. It is best, though, to help protect her nervous system so she can stay activated. So, although I do not believe that the powers have seen this video as of yet, it is a possibility in the field, and we do need to protect this information, or we need not this information. The information does need to be shared. It is the time of the remembering, but the time that it is revealed of who are some of the players needs to be careful. There is some people who are a little, in our opinion, a little cavalier in their usage of the technology of the time. There are forces that are calculating and are taking the facial recognition patterns of the new technology that is emerging now and starting to use this to categorize the people that are targets in the future. They are gathering information. However, we are doing our very best to protect all the light workers and keep them safe. We are trying to pass on information. Sometimes it is filtered out, sometimes it is not shared. And although we do agree that different higher entities do have different opinions, so there is not consensus on the board on exactly how to disseminate this information. We are all on the same team, and there are many different facets of this same jewel, all trying to work together to create harmony in a very chaotic system.
I see. Okay. So what was the reason that she had such a physical response to seeing the video like that? It's the remembering of the other life.
It is the remembering of the times in the past when she was, in a sense, her identity was revealed before it was time, and therefore the mission was compromised.
What lifetime was that?
There have been several. There have been several where she succeeded. Some of the ones where she did not succeed, there were some times there's an interesting aspect to this being where there are some aspects where she has not come in for a long time, and yet there are other times where she has put a smaller amount of herself into a being in order to observe and in order to play out smaller missions, just to see how the ripples would affect the whole. So although it is true that her more fully activated essence has not come in since a very long time, there are some smaller players that have come through where she has sent a smaller percentage of her energy into bodies. It is more in these times that she has been mistaken and perhaps not taken quite enough of a seed of her energy into those beings for the mission that they were given. Therefore, it was some of these, I don't want to use the word smaller, is not the right word, but to an extent it is a smaller percentage of her entire light body and her existence, for she is the word big is not even the correct word. However, it is the best word I can use for the three-dimensional joke of the cosmic system, in that big is such a small and simple word, and it is a bit of a paradox.
I see. Okay, very good. Where is this light body of her, all the other energies that her body is when it's not in her body?
When she is not in a body, she is a maker. She is a designer of worlds. She is a designer of Earth and also other worlds. There are aspects where even when she brings a section of herself in to be the designer and maker of worlds, even that is only a fraction of the full energy of Source.
Okay, wonderful. She wanted to know also about her life with me, about if we had reincarnation and soul contract with me.
Scanning. Yes, I did refer to a time during Isa where she was taken away from her biological parents in order to be safe. You and your family were part of Isa's escape and of her escape. There were times where there were some mistakes made and their escape was almost thwarted. They were almost captured in several different times, sometimes of the mistakes of your past and sometimes out of the divine chaos mystery of the unfolding. And therefore I believe that she feels a little bit of residual fear that the mistakes might happen again and she would be compromised.
I see.
You succeeded in the past to safely get her across the land, and you safely escaped her father. However, there were a few mistakes that were made that almost cost them their lives and the mission itself. So there is a place in her where this visceral realization does ask you to use caution and clarity and what is the right word I am looking for? To just stay very present in your purpose and to be careful with assumptions, for therefore assumptions is the place where mistakes tend to be made. I do not believe that a gross mistake was made at this point. It is a subtle mistake. That is okay and no harm done at this point. However, it does tap on the residue of some of the past experiences, and therefore we cannot fully erase those.
What is the best way I can support her this time?
You are a very deep ally. She knows this. She trusts this. You are doing so.
Thank you. Is there any way that it's good for her to support me?
Yes, it seems there is a deep trust here, and the information that I have within her is unique. Although, of course, so many of your clients are unique, there is an aspect of your working together that is good. You may continue to work together as it serves you both, and yes, she can support you in these transcriptions. She is an expert at transcribing. She is an expert translator of energies into other matter, so she is the rather perfect candidate for helping you in your projects.
Wonderful. Very good, thank you. Very nice.
These transcriptions help her in her own translation and remembrance of who she is. The more she can work in this realm, the better she can remember.
Wonderful. So to do future sessions to get more information and remembering like that is good?
Yes, that is good. She needs to be well rested and well fed. It is a lot of energy for her, and she works in a pulse system. Therefore, she has energy, and then she must retract. Be careful that she does not have too many expansions without enough contraction in between, or she will become depleted.
Okay, very good. So I'd love to continue with the questions so it doesn't take a lot of energy today. I wanted to ask about my life then with Isa. Can you share more clearly today what was I embodied then?
Scanning.
Thank you.
I keep coming up against a film. I do not yet realize if it is Allie's subconscious or yours that is creating this film. I see through a foggy glass. It is not clear. I am trying to find the clarity in the transmission.
Thank you so much. And you can also check with my higher self if there's permission to know, remember, and maybe you can ask my higher self what to share with me today.
I am getting some information. There is a concern that if I give you the exact name, that it might be distracting and it might be an incorrect translation. It is more about the relationship that you shared with Isa. You were one of his closest friends and companions, almost like brothers growing up together in the same time. You traveled together. He knows you very well. You are very close. And you have many brothers who also helped during the time. There is an aspect of your family line that is extremely... What is the right word? Your family line is strong, and therefore there is an aspect of your brothers and your fathers and your sons all in the incarnation you are now. So you were actually more than one character in the time, and so if I give you one name, it in some sense narrows the focus of the profound impact you and your family had on the story during that time. In a sense, you were many of the characters. You were many of the characters that created some of the stories in the Bible, and also you were in the stories of the escape that were hidden from all history for the safety of Isa's line. You put yourself in much personal risk to acknowledge the death and ascension when, in all honesty, he did not die on the cross.
I see. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much for this information. She wanted to know about this virus that you said that she might have in her body, if she's really been tagged and inserted with this virus, and by whom.
There was a period of time there was great paranoia in the government, and many children were tagged as possible light beings coming in to be these volunteers. Therefore, many of the suspected light beings were all implanted with this virus. The strange effect of this virus is that it only activates above a certain frequency level. Therefore, if these people do not wake up to their potential on their own, they will never even recognize that they have this virus. So therefore, yes, there is a tag. However, at the same time, it is possible that she is removing this tag in the work that she is doing. At this point, I do not see alarm bells going off yet, although the virus has been activated a few times as she has reached these higher activation levels. However, she is doing a good job and has been dismantling these virus beings while she is in her states of mystic exploration. Therefore, we do believe that she is working on a solution to this, as since she is the designer, her higher self does know how to uncontaminate this virus. It is much simpler than the one that originally corrupted the genetic code of humans. This is a simple virus that was a sort of side afterthought of some of the powers that do not want this ascension to occur.
I understand. She wanted to know if her eggs was really harvested and if they've been taken or created something from her.
She can rest assured that all of her genetic codes, all of her designs that have been of the highest caliber have all been saved. Therefore, she would not have chosen a vehicle that was not of supreme capacity to provide her with a vehicle for this mission. Therefore, she can rest assured that all genetic information that is necessary for future experiments has been maintained. Therefore, her love for humanity will continue. She does not need to worry about the specifics, for therefore she can let go of her attachment to this idea, because in a theory it is well beyond that. As a designer, it is way more than just her eggs in this physical lifetime that are being used to create other experiments. Even though the fate of humanity is still slightly in the unknown balance of how it will emerge, the work that she has done with the team that she is working on has been some of the most profound and enlightening experiments of the entire life experiment. She can rest assured that she is not a failure and that she is doing an excellent job even through the chaos of this dense world. She does not need to worry about the specific eggs because, in a sense, she specifically has been growing all of the eggs and weaving all of the genetic information. She can have her choice of any genetic combination she would like to use for future experiments. If she, in that state, she chooses to use the vehicular egg, she will have access to the genetic information of this being.
Okay, wonderful. She wanted to know also what you can do about Trump, if there's anything. What can be done? Doesn't have to be just her.
There is a necessary chaos before the unveiling. In a sense, Trump is an interesting barometer for the consciousness of the beings. For there will be a choice in whether these beings will choose love or choose hate. Although we do our best to wake up all humans, there is free will and amnesia in this experiment. Therefore, Trump is a very interesting divining rod that is definitely helping people choose whether they are going to choose the light and the love or whether they are going to continue to choose the lower vibrational experiences. Therefore, as difficult and as absolutely infuriating as I am sure this experiment is, it is necessary for the unfolding for the choice of pure love. We are offering every opportunity for all beings to witness the extreme callousness and lack of empathy for humanity as a polarizing rod to see who will choose love. We are doing everything we can to help everyone choose love. However, if they do not choose to choose love, we cannot force anyone to choose love. That is the purpose of the Free Will and Amnesia Project. Therefore, Trump is offering his service to the collective as a divining rod and helping people choose love. It is a very complex and interesting predicament that humans find themselves in, but in a sense they should be grateful for the great service that Trump is offering humanity in showing them which side are they on. Are they on the side of love or are they on the side of the darkness? Do they need to keep going through the cycles of life and death in order to evolve into the beings of love and light that they are meant to be? This is a time of great remembering, and Trump is the strange spokesperson, scapegoat for the unveiling. He has chosen this mission, and although he will have much repair after this lifetime to shed all of the karma that is being projected upon them, at the same time, his karma is perfectly designed to play this role, and he volunteered for this role beforehand, knowing that he would be the scapegoat of an infinite amount of love and hate. And therefore, we are grateful for his service to the coalescence of the light vibration on the human planet. It is a necessary step in the chaotic pattern, and all we can do is continue to choose love. In all circumstances, choose love and forgiveness, and therefore, when the time to truly show one's colors permits, it is easier for you to realize what side you truly want to be on. Even those who are supporting Trump are beginning to have the seeds unravel in their own heart of what is important. There are questions beginning to come out, but they are not willing to accept or face these questions, for they cause them to let go of all of their wealth and power. And humans have been caught up in this fear, greed, and power system for many millennia. Therefore, it is a great unfolding that the tiny seeds of question and doubt of whether they are on the right path is actually beginning to be planted in the hearts of the GOP and the others that are following in Trump and the other dictators around the world's heads and minds and hearts. It is an essential and complex system to allow us to find out whether we can choose love in all situations.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for this information. She wanted advice from about her grandfather, about his death. Can you share with her about what was happening with his death and advice about it?
Scanning.
Thank you.
It was a hard life being a farmer in North Carolina. I do believe that my mind went wrong. There were so many pesticides. I was trying so hard to take care of my family. But there was just too much. I was in it all the time. I would be out. When they were spraying the DDT on the fields. I would be brushing it off of my hat and off my shoes. I worked in the apple orchards, full of all sorts of strange things. I believe that this poisoned my mind and my body. I was in so much pain all the time I couldn't figure out how to get up and go to work anymore. My family needed me, but I felt like all I needed to do was go to the doctors and need more medicine and more tests, and we couldn't afford all that. I'd been in the military when I was younger, and so I thought that my pension would help get them through. I was so sick, and in my head I was going crazy. I was unhinging myself. It wasn't all my own fault. Those pesticides, those chemicals, they built up in my brain and in my body and in my organs, and there was not any information on how to get rid of this at the time. I thought the best thing I could do was just to end it, so that I wouldn't be more of a financial drain on my family. It was a terrible choice, and I regret it. I should have stayed. I had to work out that pain. But it was too much. My mind had gone unhinged, and I just didn't even know how to deal with myself anymore. The darkness just came in from every direction. I hated bringing that down on your mother and on my babies. Seeing their father get weaker and weaker, I couldn't do it. I knew I was just getting sick, and I was only getting sicker. I couldn't bring them down like that. I thought if it was an accident, if they thought it was an accident, I thought that maybe they'd be able to forgive and move on. And I was wrong. It planted a seed of deep, deep fear and anger down in the hearts of your mother and your grandmother, and I'm sorry. It planted the seeds of the toxins that caused your uncle to be with Down syndrome, and I'm sorry. It's not my fault. I didn't know that the chemicals were going to do that. They didn't tell us. We didn't know that they were dangerous. They told us that they were safe. Your grandmother died from the same cancer that killed me in my mind. I took my own life, but it was only because I was just going insane with all the levels of the mercury in my head. And your poor aunt, my God, what a mess my choice has made upon her. I passed that same mental illness down to her, and now you know what's going on. You figured it out. You're a smart girl. I love you so much, and I love your family so much, and I'm sorry I did what I did. I'm proud of you for ending it here, and I thank you for taking up the torch of the Swan School. It is a good idea. It is absurd, nothing I would have ever thought of, but your friend Victor, he had a good idea, and I agree. And I appreciate you taking up this cause, because it helps to keep passing it down. I see how it does. I see how my choice passes it down. And I'm sorry for the way I passed it down to your mother. I'm sorry she's so cold to you. She's so depressed, she never really found her calling. She thought she'd move to the big city, and she'd find it there, and she didn't. She thought she'd find it in your father. She was just sad. She lived a life very unfulfilled. And she also had the toxins in her body, all that DDT. You know your grandmother used to sweep it off the porch there too, and they'd play in it and draw their names in it. That shit is poison, and it's killed millions of people. But that's the thing we all signed up for, right? Poisoning each other, killing each other, not realizing it until afterwards of what we've been doing. God, if I could go back and do it again. Would I have had the strength to stand up to all those chemical companies? They were so strong, and they were promising such great yields. And when those famines were coming and those blights were coming and killing the apples, what else were we to do? I tried my best, and I'm sorry I failed. But I thank you for taking up this torch, for facing your darkness. You're braver than I ever could imagine the places you go. My God, girl. I didn't know any human could go to the places you go. But then, therefore, you are what you are, and I know that now. And I'm grateful to have passed on my name to you. You are definitely worthy of that name of truth, my darling. You keep up the good work now, because you're doing it for all of us, you know. All those dark places you go, my God. They're terrifying. I see them all. We all are watching. You make us cry. With how much you're willing to take on. I've never seen anybody take on that pain that you do. And you transmute it into this love that it's just so amazing. I can't believe you're doing it again. I can't believe you chose to come back, but I'm glad that you came into my family. I feel blessed that you would choose to come into my lineage after everything I did. After me taking my own life like that and creating that pattern in my family line, that you'd still choose to come in here. It is an honor to our bloodline that you came here, that you chose, that we could hold you. So thank you. Thank you for not passing this down any longer. It broke myself. I broke myself when I killed myself. And it breaks me in half to see your aunt struggle and your grandmother suffer like she did and your mother suffer like she does, all silent. But it seems almost worth it for the love that you bring, the life that you're bringing in. It's crazy. It makes it all seem worth it. So I thank you, and I hope you can forgive me for putting that strange line in your blood. I know it's hard, that depression that makes you want to end it. Because there is a little bit of that toxin left. You can detox it though, baby. You can get rid of all of it. I know you can. I know you got this. And it doesn't even matter that you're not passing it along, because you're healing it for the collective. You're healing it out in the light lines. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm sorry I never got to meet you. Pansy just loved you, though. Pansy just loved you so. So did Imogene, my God. You are so loved. No matter how strange and different you are, because you sure are. You're not like any of us. None of us have ever seen the likes of you. We all just sitting around watching the show. You are a wild thing, my God. Sometimes I can hardly even stand it. But I'm grateful. Because, my God, are you beautiful. And to think that my action would lead you to have chosen this body, because in a sense you chose it because of it. You chose it because you knew you needed to stop this line. You needed to stop that suicide line. You needed to stop that depression line. You had to stop that poison line. You had to. You picked a big role, baby. We got you, though. We're here for you.
Are you helping her now?
We are.
Wonderful. So after you passed, you moved into the light?
Well, you know, it's hard when you kill yourself. You got so much guilt and regret. You won't let yourself go into the light. You punish yourself for a while, long while.
Yeah.
Yep.
I see. I think it's time that we can help you to move on into the light. Would you like that?
Yeah, she's been helping me move into the light, but yeah, you guys can help me some more if you like.
Okay, so now you said this, apologize, and I'm sure she's forgiving you. Do you need to hear from her your forgiveness to feel lighter? Or do you believe that?
Oh no, she forgives me. She's already met me in the void multiple times. She's listening to me. I feel very heard.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say before you move up into the light?
Go talk to your mama. Go cry in her arms. See if you can get her to cry into yours. I wish I had the right thing to say to make her listen to you. I'm not sure what it might be. She's so closed down.
Would it be good for her to listen to this recording of you?
Maybe. She might. She might just think she's crazy, but she might listen.
Is there something you can tell her that will make her feel that this is you? I know that it's very clear for me, but can you share another piece of information, maybe just that you and her know? Or memory?
I used to take your mom out into the apple orchards. And we'd go help her climb the trees, and when I got her a little wagon so we could collect more apples. I hope she'd remember that time.
That's wonderful. That's nice.
She was really young, though, when I died. She was real little. She may not remember.
I understand now. Okay. Wonderful. So now I'm going to open a vortex here above her body so you can release all the heaviness, the guilt that you carry for so long, to send it into the light for healing. Send it into the light because you don't need it anymore. And I want you to tell me when it's being released.
I feel lighter.
Good. I want you to see within your form, there's a beautiful spark within your form. Do you see the spark of light?
I see it.
So now you can make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Make it as big as you can. It's the spark we're all made of. It was inside of you the whole time. And I would like to call the angels to assist you to go all the way up into the light. And now you can go up, up, up from the top of the head. And tell me, who do you see?
Oh, I see Pansy.
Who's Pansy?
That's my wife.
So you're all the way up into the light already? Where are you now?
Well, she's kind of meeting me.
She's coming down to meet you. Very good.
I've seen her before. I just wasn't quite ready to go with her, I guess. I had to watch. I had to watch what I had created.
So now you can go with her up, 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 and tell me when you arrived into the light. Are you there?
I believe so.
Good. Then go all the way up. Tell me, who do you meet up there? What do you hear? Listen and tell me, what do you hear?
Oh, it's all clean again. The beautiful mountains and all the orchards, and they're clean. There's no more of those damn pesticides. It's just clean, organic, the way it used to be. God, I wish we could go back.
So I want you to send light from the source to all those places and all the people you ever hurt, just to send them a healing energies from the source. See them healed. Send them the love and the light for their healing. And tell me when you did that completely.
Yeah, it was a lot, but yeah, it's all in the process.
Wonderful. Is there anything else would you like to say before we depart?
You take care now, baby girl. I'm so proud of you. You go see your mama. You just go hold her. She just needs some love. She's lonely.
Very good. Now you can take a deep breath, and I want to call the consciousness of Ali forward to say whatever you want to your grandfather. Is there anything would you like to say to him?
No, just
And give him a big hug. And to send him love and light. Very good. So now take another deep breath. Release completely. And now I want to send the grandfather with a lot of light and love. May the light of the universe will be with you always. Thank you for all the information. Another deep breath. May I speak with the higher self, please?
yes.
Thank you for coming forward, and thank you for allowing that. Very good. She wanted to know also about why she's having this scream and how to avoid that in the journeys that you take.
Avoid, that's a funny word. Did she say that?
Mm-hmm. To avoid. The scream void, yeah.
I don't think she wants to avoid it. Does she want to avoid it? I think you just mean the scream that's in the void, right? The primal scream of the void?
I think the scream that she is experiencing when she's getting into that place, yeah.
But she doesn't want to avoid it, does she?
I don't know. I think she was... she want to know how to navigate that.
Ah, yes. Definitely not by avoiding it.
So how to navigate that.
She's doing a pretty good job. She is taking on quite a big chunk when she goes into the void, because she truly is in that samadhi place, and it's ecstasy, but it's terrifying for the human form, because she does have to rip off her entire body, and she did the best she's done. She keeps doing better every time. Eventually it's possible that she might be able to breathe through it enough to that she can just scream on the inside and not scream on the outside, and at the same time she's channeling such a powerful thing that the only way it can translate through the human vocal cords is through that scream. She's a vocal child. It's possible that once she really starts singing and sharing her stories and telling her truth to the world and really help sharing her light, it's possible that the screams won't feel as necessary to come through, but there's no way to avoid the scream. The scream is the primal ripping of the third dimension away from herself, and it's a terrifying experience for her because she is so deeply connected to the grandness of it all. There's not as many layers. So when she dives in deep. So it's okay. She's doing all right. I think maybe she's concerned that she's just being ridiculous, all the flopping around and screaming. But I think that's just the way she navigates it for now. I don't know if there's anything we can do. She's already going deeper than... She's going as deep as she can go.
Beautiful.
She just has a tendency... She gets ambitious. She goes so deep. It's like, imagine if you were thinking you were on a roller coaster at an amusement park ride, and then all of a sudden you realize that there was no end of the ride and it just fell down into a bottomless pit. You'd probably scream like that too until you reach the other side. It's all right. That's just her way of going through.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And she wanted advice about the filming tomorrow and topics and suggestions.
It's a good day to do it, being Samhain. The best advice to her is to start at the beginning. She knows where the beginning is. And just see where it takes her. She's got all of her topics listed out already, and I think the best thing to do is just to start at the beginning and let herself just go. It's a good idea that she's doing it by herself. She gets slightly self-conscious when someone's watching, even though it's kind of ironic because we're all watching. But when she's by herself, I think it's a good plan for her to just set herself up somewhere beautiful and just talk. And then watch it. And she'll get a lot of good information like that. She's already been tapping into all the downloads of the different topics, but I think tomorrow, because it is Samhain and it is the fall, I think some of those topics at the beginning, which she knows. And beyond the beginning, there's this just process of practicing letting go, practicing surrender. And so as she starts from the beginning and emerges from that, then the natural symbolism around her is going to guide her where she needs to go. It's best when she's not too scripted. And it's best if she meditates first before she begins so that she's dropped in. Because when she's dropped in, she taps into some of the most beautiful things. She doesn't need a script. She doesn't need to plan it. The reason she scripts and plans it is just because she's a little nervous that she won't be in a pulse. But I think tomorrow, that's the perfect place. She was good to stay. She's good to go to that place. She found it. She knew she was going to look for that place, and she found it today. So she'll go back tomorrow, and she'll start at the beginning, and she'll just feel into where she's at. And she'll let the fact that the veil is thin and the fact that she knows what she's doing guide her. If I gave her a specific topic and specific things to talk about, I think it might almost cramp her style, because she does know it already. That's why she's doing it. She just needs to do it. And this is a perfect opportunity for her to finally just see what it looks like in a place that's up to her standards. She doesn't like it when she looks at herself doing a selfie in the living room. She doesn't like the light in there. So she gets self-conscious. So this is perfect. It's a beautiful place. So she'll enjoy the whole process of witnessing. So that's good for her. She needs to go to beautiful places and set up sets and just beautiful places that make her feel good. She needs to not try to force this particular set, but just go out in the beautiful places of nature and set up right where it seems appropriate. Once she gets more used to it and she gets more relaxed, then she can get some more support and have help with the videography and those things like that. And eventually, I think it is a good idea for her to do some interviews in just either the white room or in a building. But the thing is that having these discussions out in nature, out in the wilds, actually, I think helps people remember. She's on to something there. I think she picked a good spot.
Very good. I know she's not so comfortable in her house. What do you want to suggest for her living situation?
Well, it feels like it is about time to let that place go. Because she has a much better place. She knows she needs to manifest a temple space with other people that can hold it. She needs a place that she can sing and scream and be herself. Eventually, she does need to find that. In the human timeline of it, though, we don't want her to rush things. So if she can find someone to keep it for the winter and keep winter, then I think that's a good thing. But if she can't find it, if it doesn't manifest, then it's probably best she lets it go. She knows that. She can't afford to keep it for 3 months if she can't fill it. So she can put it out there, and if the right person comes, if that person manifests, because it's all just these phases of possibility. Like, there's things destined, and at the same time, everybody's making different choices all the time. But she knows she needs to let go of it. So if she just stays focused on letting go of it with grace and ease, then the right person will either come or it won't, and the right situation will come or it won't. Instead of us telling her exact timeline of when she should move out, I think it's best that she fully visualize what it is she's calling in, so we can create that for her, and then it'll all come together in the perfect timeline. She's been too much thinking about when do I let it go, and do I stay here, and how long do I stay here, and the idea is that she can't stay there much longer. It is time for her to move on to that place where she can sing anytime she wants. She needs to not be living underneath someone else. She needs to have her creative freedom so that she can transcribe the things she learns out in the field and the songs she records out in the field. She needs to have a quiet place to come back and work on those. And that place, eventually, it's not working anymore. She needs more privacy. She's a grown woman now. She knows that. She's tired of living with someone who acts like her father.
Yeah.
It's such a good place. ask her to just keep visualizing what she wants exactly, and then help it come in perfect alignment, and therefore we can help it materialize. She just needs to ground it in a little bit more clearly on what she wants, and then it will magically disappear and reappear for her. She's good at that.
Wonderful. Very good. Is there any upgrades that you can do for her body now? Any work on her blueprint?
Yes, we are cleaning some spots in her brain. Her great-granddaddy pointed out some of the residue from some of the pesticides. We've seen them, but it was nice to have his support there, just because he's so close to her, and that blood, he knows how it affects. So we're going to help her in her brain a little bit. The great-granddaddy wants us to help her brain a little bit, because she's got the same similar patterns of depression that he had, and they got so augmented by all the pesticides in him that they turned into absolute craziness within himself. She's not quite there. She doesn't have as much toxic load in her, but there's still that possibility for cleaning and detoxing. So yeah, we can help her a little bit.
Thank you. Very good. Continue work on her. So she also had questions about this conversation that we had about the consent. What was the larger symbol about the consent conversation?
There's multiple layers to this word.
Mm-hmm.
Because of her position as the designer, she has witnessed so much consent violation from fear and greed. That is not the case here, and she knows that. The consent that she is rubbing up against at this moment is that there is this aspect of that because there is free will, and because she is a designer, she holds this tenet to be extremely precious. And so as she is embodied, she wants to be able to exercise her free will. Therefore, if she feels like her free will has been thwarted, therefore her consent taken away, it bothers her because she has done everything in her power to allow free will, and yet there's also the other's free will. It is very interesting how free will plays out in the universe. But most specifically in this situation, she is feeling as though her free will was taken out of her control, and therefore she felt frustrated. And of course, you've got to understand that she is tapping into past lives where she has not been able to succeed in her mission. Consent is a very important topic now in the dynamic of the masculine and the feminine. It is good that we all take a look at how we give and receive consent. It is extremely important as we learn to exercise our free will, as our amnesia is lessening, for that is what is now happening. We are actually changing the fundamental rules of the game. So far, amnesia and free will have been relatively constant, with a few pulses of remembering to allow for the upgrades. This is one of the largest times of remembering, so we are changing the amnesia protocol to a very high extent. That is a lot of change for a civilization and a species who has evolved with these two factors so firmly in place. Therefore, with amnesia beginning to dissolve, free will is all that we have left. Therefore, we will, of course, want to hold on to that as preciousness, and yet also be careful not to become too attached, for the illusion is beyond both free will and amnesia when we realize our connection to the whole cosmos.
Wonderful.
It is natural that this feeling, when consent does not occur, when amnesia is also dissolving, that one feels unsafe and unsettled. Therefore, it is good for all of us to be careful of how we give and receive consent, to be aware that as we are in this time of remembering, and free will and amnesia are the two basic tenets, that we can be sensitive to this fact that we are becoming more sensitive to our consent and our free will. We are becoming more aware of our free will because we have less amnesia. It is an interesting time right now. So it is just good for us to all keep excellent awareness in how we are interacting with each other. Being very clear in the way we communicate, very clear in our needs and boundaries, our expectations, our desires, our fears, and our intentions. The more clear we can all be with our consent and where we need it and where we are willing to let go of it will help us surrender the amnesia so that we can feel secure and safe in these coming times. Eventually, we will be letting go of both free will and amnesia as we ascend into the greater consciousness of all, where free will becomes to realize that it is the will of the highest good that we surrender to. But we did give humans this free will, and they are learning to exercise it with more power now that the amnesia is lifting. Therefore, you will see more consent issues coming up in the civilization as we learn to exercise this aspect of ourselves.
Wonderful. I'm wondering what is the best way, the most appropriate and beneficial way to share this information that come forward today, and if there's anything from that information that you would like not to share.
The information can all be shared. However, we do respect her wishes to keep her face and name separate from the audio recordings. For now, it is her nervous system we want to protect. She is holding a large piece with interesting amnesia that is dissolving at a very fast rate. Therefore, as to protect the entire mission and the nervous system of this being, we do ask that all of her future encounters all at this point be audio recording only until she feels a difference. When she is ready, and if she is ready to move to audio and video recording, she will know and will be able to tell you.
Wonderful. Is it appropriate to continue sessions also remotely?
Yes, that is fine. You have a strong trust bond going through many lifetimes, so therefore, yes, you may.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I wanted to ask, so I had one question about the creation of the elements. If that information is important for today, or should we keep it for another time? How the elements was created, or...
Well, as before, I mentioned that the elements and all molecular things were sung in the weaving songs. To go into those specifics requires a great deal of detail and explanation, and I do not feel, considering where Ali went unexpectedly yesterday, she is tapped out in her diving reserves. She needs to rest and recharge. If you can wait until a future time when she is more recharged. She has had 3 days of diving deep into herself, and we want her health and vitality to stay strong.
Very good. So let's take another deep breath into this body to bring more oxygen to all the cells. Is there any more important information for Ellie today to share with her?
We just invite her to remember who she is, to stay motivated and diligent in breaking her addictions, to cleansing her body, and to listening. She is designed to rest and to have bursts of creativity and inspiration. It is good for her to, after a session of productivity and inspiration, to give herself the time and the space to rest without feeling like she is being non-productive and being lazy. We ask her to find a balance, for it is true, sometimes she is being lazy. When she is caught too long in patterns of fear and doubt about who she is and what she is meant to do, she does start to procrastinate and is therefore not being productive for long spans of time, and then begins to feel guilty about those patterns. Therefore, we ask that she start each day as she knows she needs to, with a big glass of water, a sitting meditation, a movement of her body, and then an intention of what goals she has for that day. She can give herself small rests during that day, but she does need to repattern the beginnings of her day and make sure that she is starting to get up earlier and earlier each day. She has been resting recently, which has been good for her system, but now it's time for her to do the cleanse and to begin waking up about 15 minutes earlier every single day until she is waking up a little bit before the dawn. It is best for her to be awake at the time that she was born. At 6:45 a.m. was her birth time. It is best for her health if she is awake at this period of time. Therefore, we recommend that she finds that healthy pattern in her morning so that the rest of her day can flow more ease and grace. We understand the days she has been sleeping in, that she has not been feeling well and needed to rest. This is perfectly appropriate. It is now time that as she is becoming more aware of who she is, that she can now really establish the patterns that allow her to thrive. She can begin to trust the ebb and the flow and the times of inspiration and the times of rest. And as long as within every few days she is in a pattern of inspiration, rest, and not getting stuck in a rut of rest for more than a week or two, she will be in a good position to continue to share and to become the mission that she has come here to be. She is correct. We gave her a body with longevity. We chose a vehicle with longevity and health because we did know that she was going to be facing several of these fears, and she was going to take a period of time in order to get around to the mission that she came here to do. We knew this and we were prepared for it. Therefore, she needs to trust that she is on a good path and that she does need to check her addiction pattern to the technological advancements of this age. She knows what we are talking about, and she needs to allow herself the time to rest and the time to play. It will be best for her inspiration again to do most of her work in beautiful places with good natural acoustics. She needs to get out of her house more often and eventually let it go.
Beautiful. Thank you for this summary. That's very important. Very good. Would it be appropriate to now receive a message from my guide or my higher self?
Scanning. You have much to offer each other. She has much training in communication and relationships. It could be good conversations for you, as sometimes you get stuck. You are a good communicator, and you are a good energetic healer, and you are a good teacher. And there are places where you can stretch and grow. It is very possible that you create a great alliance in sharing your expertise and knowledge about the world, about relating, about communication, to create more ease and flow with your relationship with your beloved. I do notice occasional glitches where your communication patterns are in friction with each other in subtle ways, and these erode from the harmonious beauty of your love in relationship. I do believe that with a little more attention in these areas and some guidance, that you can find even more beauty and inspirational growth in your connection. Not to say that your connection is unhealthy. You do have a beautiful love, which we do all love to see and appreciate when it manifests in the human form in the 3 dimensions. However, with additional attention on fully encompassing our range of emotions when we communicate, we can be careful not to allow unspoken resentments of ourselves, frustrations for each other, and the own tiny little fragments of anger that can reside and erode relationships to be more clear and to create a more harmonious flow in your life.
Yeah. I noticed that I have some triggers. For example, now then we worked on that workshop for the solstice. I'm getting very triggered when we start to do collaborations. Is there anything about the root cause for my triggers that you can share with me that will help me to unveil them? Undo the triggers and heal?
Collaborations with beloveds can be quite challenging, for there is a belief and feeling that you are on the same wavelength and therefore will desire and want the same things because you are so connected. However, all human beings in their third-dimensional realities have a degree of illusion of separation that is real in this third-dimensional reality. Therefore, When we have the expectation that we will be in full and complete harmony in belief and desires with our beloved, especially in business collaboration, we find friction. Therefore, we must sit down and really reflect on what are the deepest tenets that are most important to us to manifest. What are the most important tenets of your collaboration? What are the most important parts to you that are non-negotiable? What are your nuggets? What are the seeds that are truly yours that need to be expressed? And are there details that you can potentially let go of? A power struggle ends up emerging when the nuggets are not expressed, and therefore there can be a clinging to details because there is a protection of the seeds below them. If you can really take a look at the project that you are working on and delineate the core parts that are essential for you to feel like your offering is pure to your heart and intention, then therefore you will not feel quite as attached to some of the details. When you get attached to some of the details, it is because you have not fully understood and fully acknowledged the seeds in which you want to be expressed. So when you feel your beloved moving your seeds that are not quite fully acknowledged, then you become defensive of the details or the petals or the leaves of that project. Therefore, really sit down in meditation, and each of you invite your beloved to do the same, to really find out what are the essential pieces you want to make sure shine through, and therefore you can find the places where you can co-create. And compromise is not the right word. Compromise is a very dangerous playground. Compromise is good in some ways. However, most of the time, compromise comes from a place of we're having to begrudgingly let go of something important to us in order to create a middle ground with our beloved. It is a much easier place to come from the core essential pieces that we are certain need to exist. And once those pieces are acknowledged by our partners and supported, then therefore we realize that compromise is not nearly as necessary. We can very gently and lovingly then support the seeds of our partner while they are lovingly supporting the seeds of us. And we are much more from a place of grace and love, willing to let go of certain details we thought we were attached to. Compromise often creates resentment, so be very careful with compromise. Instead, find the root causes, the root places where you really want that essential to shine, and really pay attention, really make sure each of you understand these places. Therefore, you with loving kindness can let go of the details you thought that were important, and you realize in the scheme of things that if you let go of that choice, that it helps support your other partner's seed while still allowing yours to flourish. That way you can actually create letting go and collaboration without compromise. Compromise can be a very dangerous thing that in idea seems like a good win-win solution, often causes a lose-lose solution where both people have lost aspects of the project that were so important to them that then they become resentful of the overall project. So I encourage you to find the seeds that are essential and therefore see what things can be pruned away without a resentment. You don't want to let go of any of the details from a place of resentment. You want to recognize how you can best support the dreams of yours and your beloved so that you both choose with grace to let go of things to help support the other.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I have one more question about my awakening process. What will benefit for me for my ability to channel information like that, to remember who I am on my path, aligning to my path?
I am having a cosmic joke moment of seeing the irony of these human questions of this topic, for it is one that I have addressed over and over and over again with almost everyone who asks. In order to truly tap into your remembering, there must be a cleansing process. You have read this in most of Dolores's work, where we call for a very clean diet, free of oil, fried oils, and processed foods, most meat products. We are shifting towards a lighter diet without heavy grains and definitely without sugar. Sugar is one of the biggest filmmakers that create an opacity that you cannot see through. Sugar is a dangerous one because it tastes so good. It has created much trouble around the world for many centuries. Therefore, we invite you to remember what you have read once before in the cleansing of your diet, in the cleansing of your mind, and the cleansing of your spirit. Therefore, we recommend a process of yogic movement of your body, breath work to cleanse your deepest part of your lungs, deep body cleanses to cleanse and detoxify the organs and replenishing with healthy, nurturing, organic, local, and simple foods. The more clear and clean your diet becomes, aiming eventually towards an all-liquid diet and completely clear and clean movement practice and meditation practice daily, where you end up integrating meditation into every activity of your day. In those moments when you fully align yourself in yoga, which is the union of body, mind, and spirit, you will become the ultimate channel for the mission that you want to encounter. Unfortunately, most of us are unwilling to make the sacrifices that seem like sacrifices of giving up things we desire. Therefore, when we find the equanimity of finding the pure beauty and the ecstasy in life without the sugar, without the distractions and the fried foods and the chips and the processed things that satisfy our taste buds, then we can truly satisfy our souls with the energy that comes from within us. It is only then, when you have the will to let go of all of these human body distractions that are polluting to your system, will you be the clean channel you exactly want to be. You are working in that pattern, and we are not expecting you to do it all at once. It is a gradual awakening. However, you will notice that the cleaner that you allow your life to be, the cleaner your transmissions will become.
Wonderful. I'm asking about fruits because I'm sure there's sugars also in fruits.
We are talking about processed sugar. We are talking about sugars that man has synthesized and concentrated.
Okay, thank you. I also want to ask about sex.
Sex. Sex is a beautiful union of divinity and tantric connection between God and self and ego and delusion of life, birth, and death. Sex is a natural part of the human body and ecosystem. However, we have found that most humans use sex as a form of distraction and a form of craving satisfaction. When we are not going inside enough, we have these insatiable sexual desires. Therefore, when we are able to make love with ourselves without touching ourselves, when you are able to bring yourself to orgasmic release and connection with God through your awareness, then you will then recognize that sex is a beautiful form of connection with your partner that creates closeness. It is a form of exercise. It is a form of stress relief. It is a beautiful cocktail of sweet emotions and sweet chemicals that allow you to feel good. These are all good things. When you find the divinity within yourself, then you will approach sex from a more balanced place of seeing it as a beautiful part of the tapestry of human life without aiming and without grabbing and clinging to it for a form of satisfaction and security. Oftentimes we use sex when we are feeling unsafe or lonely or when we are wanting to have that dopamine and serotonin rush. So be careful how you are using sex. Use sex as a form of tantric communion to connect with divine. There is a potential to have full union through sexual intercourse and through breathwork in order to bring more of the divine love of existence into the third dimension, which is the goal.
Wonderful. Thank you for this information. And I have another question regarding the trans.